is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but release the names, right?
And I've said it, Dan Bongino said it, we've reviewed all the information, and the American public is going to get as much as we can release. He killed himself. Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion of this. Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities? Or do you think we would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on?
Yes.
Where's the videotape?
I do think that now.
Everybody, you have a special guest returning to the show, Kim Bright. She's a pioneer. She was very popular the first time we had her on the show with the audience, and she's a pioneer in nutrition industry, an expert in health and wellness, and the founder of Brightcore Nutrition, now in its 27th year. Since the 1980s, she's been appearing regularly on nationally syndicated and local radio and television programs, educating people and doctors on how to optimize their health. She's also one of our new sponsors. Welcome back to the show, Kim. Good to see you. I'm sure our audience is excited to see you again, too.
Well, thank you, Jimmy, for having me back. And that's great to hear that your audience enjoyed our show.
Yeah, they certainly did. Well, I wanted to have you on because I wanted to talk to you. I know you're a big Maha supporter, big RFK Jr. supporter. And I wanted to go over End Tribalism in Politics, did a nice thread about just 2 months in, RFK. Let's see what's happened. So let's go over it.
All right.
2 months ago, RFK Jr. stepped into the Health and Human Services with a mission to challenge decades of captured science and failed health policy. Month 2 was the biggest yet for the Maha movement, and here's what happened, right? So RFK Jr. kicked off his second month in office with a bang, dropping 3 major announcements in a single interview. Operation Stork Speed, which is a full review of baby formulas, the first since 1998. Now, I was talking to a doctor who just had a baby, and he was talking. Now, do you know what's in those baby formulas? So babies need a lot of fat, right?
Right.
And so they filled those baby formulas with seed oils. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. And they also, if you test them, most of the baby formulas have too much heavy metals, especially lead.
No,
so
you're kidding.
I'm not kidding, Jimmy. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you at all. And the rice cereals that babies eat, which is their first food after formula or mother's milk, has levels of arsenic.
No kidding.
God.
Well, I knew that. I know that I used to eat brown rice, and then I saw a doctor on Joe Rogan say, no, our brown rice is full of arsenic. It's worse than regular white rice. So that's when I stopped eating brown rice.
Well, you got to get your brown rice from a good source, but yeah, because of everything they're spraying in the sky, the water is polluted. I mean, he's walking into such a mess up, just a pile here. But yeah, we've got to clean up everything because it's really inundating our food.
So I'm excited about that they're doing Operation Stork Speed, which is to finally take a review of the baby formula that we give babies. It says, and I would love to see a side-by-side comparison of people who are breastfed and people who are bottle formula fed and see the difference in their health outcomes. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Huge difference.
Yeah. Have you ever seen any studies done on that?
Yes, I have, because I breastfed all my kids. And I wasn't breastfed as a child because my mother I was crying for the first 3 days because she was barely having anything come out. And they wondered, man, this is a really bad kid we have here. The first child, we got a crazy kid here, cries all the time. Well, the doctor's like, she's not getting any food out of you. So they had to put me on formula. And that was a big difference. And my kids were very different on mother's milk. It's a totally different thing. I mean, God made mother's milk and man makes formulas.
So he also, just in the last month, he has a new initiative with state governments to remove cell phones from school. We covered that. We talked about that.
EMFs and all of those things need to come away from schools, from hospitals. I mean, hospitals have tremendous amount of electromagnetic stuff going through them. They've got the microwave, on the top of the. They've got so many microwaves going through there for the equipment, let alone the phone lines. So yeah, we've got to clean up everything. And I'm so happy that he's paying attention to these, because it definitely affects the children's brain. It definitely affects when they're sleeping with electronic things in their room at night. They don't get to sleep. So lots has to be done here in Exposed.
So if I'm sleeping with for years, I've slept with my cell phone right next to my head.
Oh God, no.
And that's bad.
Really bad.
Now, what if I put it in the drawer in my nightstand and close the drawer?
How about you leave it in the living room?
Really? I should put it in a different room?
Oh, definitely. Everybody needs electronic-free sleeping area, because the EMFs that are emitted, I mean, I could do a whole show with you on that one. I did radio shows with this, and it's just horrific what it does.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So, I heard, who was it? The woman who founded the Huffington Post,
Ariana
Huffington, talked about how she had to reimagine her sleep, and she takes her cell phone and puts it in another room. And I was like, well, that's a little extreme, but you're saying that's not.
No, it's not extreme. I even unplugged my TV and I unplugged my Wi-Fi, everything at night. I don't want that stuff coming in my space, because already we have so many different electronic wavelengths and frequencies coming in to our space. So why add more?
And so, okay, yeah, I actually, again, I'm watching Joe Rogan. When he had RFK on, they talked about how Wi-Fi, just regular Wi-Fi, can cross the blood-brain barrier and damage your mitochondria.
That's right. Your mitochondria is your little power plants in every cell. And so when you damage those, guess what? You don't have energy. Why do you think these kids are dragging themselves to school? They're got their phones in their room. They've got TVs in their room. They're, either listening to music all night long or whatever. I mean, it's crazy. We've got to re-educate everybody on these things.
And what do you think about using Bluetooth earphones with your phone? Is that good, bad, indifferent?
I don't use Bluetooth.
No.
Nope.
Okay, so
I don't hook it up to my phone in the car. I don't. I try and stay away, Jimmy, from as many of these electronic things. I was talking back in the 80s about people that they had cancer, or their kids were really sick all the time. They were living underneath these heavy duty power lines. It's like, you got to move away from that. And I would go into their homes and I would look at all the different pollutants in their homes. And, we had to clean up back then. I mean, it's worse now.
No, even when I was younger, I remember people talking about there was a higher incidence of cancers and things, people who lived underneath big, heavy duty power lines.
Have you ever stood under one of those big things and listened?
Yes.
You can hear the frequencies.
Yeah. Okay. And so there's one more thing. RFK has a plan to eliminate the outdated GRAS standard once and for all. Do you know what GRAS stands for?
Yes, generally accepted as safe. Now, that went into effect in the FDA in 1958. And back then, what that was supposed to do is have companies that wanted to add anything that was weird, not like dairy, meat, butter, eggs, real food. They were supposed to go through a whole process so the FDA could approve it as safe. Well, it would take 7 or 8 years for them to get this done. So basically what it did over time, it just became watered down to the point where the FDA was like, well, if you say it's safe, we say it's safe. It's okay. We don't have the time to look at all this, because I make a joke about, the FDA really has been the DA, Drug Administration, because nothing has been focused on our food hardly at all throughout these years. So the F's been silent. Now the F is going to go in and be very present with, Secretary Kennedy being in charge.
So we're going to put the food back in the Food and Drug Administration.
That's correct, Jimmy. That's right.
So GRAS, generally recognized as safe. So he's going to talk about that, how he's going to revamp those regulations. Let's listen.
We wanted the dyes out of the food. The science on the dyes is so overwhelming. They're making products now in this country that have the dyes in them, like Fruit Loops, for example. And you buy the same product in Canada and it doesn't have the dyes. You buy the same product in Europe and it doesn't have the dyes. That's right. So there are a lot of ingredients, and one of the things that we're doing is we've launched a review of the GRAS standards, and we're going to get rid of the GRAS standards for most products. The GRAS standards is a standard that was adopted in 1958. It was adopted because when FDA was created to regulate food, there were foods that were generally recognized as safe, GRAS, generally recognized as safe, like flour, like dairy, like eggs. And they didn't want to make companies test those products, so they created that designation. But that designation was expanded by an industry that began taking advantage of it, so that any new chemical that they want to add to our food is generally recognized as safe and gets no review. That's why we have 10,000 ingredients in our food in this country. In Europe, they only have 400. And we have the worst chronic disease burden of any country in the world. So we are going to get rid of the GRAS standards for new products. We're going to go back and review all of these old ingredients to make sure that they are safe. And we're going to encourage these companies to get rid of them as quickly as possible.
Great. So I think that's a big deal. Don't you think that's a big deal?
That's a gigantic deal.
Yeah.
Gigantic.
I never even
We've got, like he said, 10,000 different additives in our food supply, and Europe's got 400. Europe and Canada use beet juice and carrot juice to color the Fruit Loops. We're using artificial synthetic colorings from petroleum products. What do you think that does to our body? All these poisons are so bad, and it's not just now. It's generational, Jimmy. I mean, this has been affecting 3-4 generations. You look at since 1958 and even before then. After World War II is when really things started to, go downhill.
So that's a pretty impressive second month, right? So
yeah, I'd say so.
So he also, this is another bombshell. He's vowing to overhaul the CDC policy from the ground up. So
yay!
So let's listen to this.
I know the question that you've been asked throughout your confirmation hearings, of course, was about the public's, I think, justifiable concern with the growth of and the senators asked you enough questions about that I don't think you need to rehash a lot of it. But for the people who are asking questions about whether or not they'll vaccinate their kids or whether they should vaccinate their kids, will anything change about
everything's going to change because we're going to have good information. And, none of the things that are given, but people said to me during the hearing, this link between autism and has been disproven. But none of the that are given during the first 6 months of life have ever been tested for. The only one was the DTP. And that one study that was done, according to the Institute of Medicine, the National Academy of Sciences, found that there was a link. They threw out that study because it was based upon CDC's surveillance system, VAERS, and they said that system is no good. I think it begs the question is, why doesn't CDC have a functional surveillance system? We're going to make sure they do have a functional surveillance system. Right now, the surveillance system is the system that, because they pre-licensing safety testing for, they're the only product that's exempt. So what they say is, if there are injuries, we'll capture them afterward. But they have a system that doesn't capture them. In fact, CDC's own study of its own system said it captures fewer than 1% of injuries. It's worthless. And everybody agrees it's worthless. But why have we gone for 39 years and nobody's fixed it?
Without a functional system, right?
We're going to fix it, and we have, we have Doge, knows how to manage data. And so we're going to be able to get into these databases and give answers to the American public. And and we're going to fix the problems. If there are problems, we're going to fix them very quickly, but we're going to follow the science. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have gold standard science, and we're going to follow the science. We're going to publish all of our data sets, which CDC has never done. We're going to do replication of all of our studies, which CDC has never done. We're going to publish our peer review, CDC has never done. So people are going to have real answers for the first time.
So, I mean, that's also revolutionary, groundbreaking. It seems like he's bringing real transparency to this CDC and in general. And isn't it but there are still people like Elizabeth Warren out there and liberals of all sorts who are poo-pooing what he's trying to do. Is that mind-blowing to you?
Well, of course it is, but he's bringing competency. He's going to actually use real science. Do you think real science has been being used all these years with all these incompetent people they've had there? And I don't know if they've really been incompetent or they're really helping Big Pharma grow. And that's, I'm sure she's got stock as well as the other people in these companies that keep people sick and make the vaccines. So you always have to follow the money, Jimmy. I mean, these people, that it's going to be the money. I mean, if they're so dumb as to think that they've been following the science and the way they've been doing it prior, then we really have a problem with these people in Congress if they're that stupid.
So I wanted to show you this. Remember, all this has happened just between March 13th and now.
Yeah, that shows you what competency can do. And putting a team of real competent people together, which Trump has done, President Trump. I mean, he's going lightning speed because there's just so much to change. There's so much to fix. I mean, they gave him a big, huge pile of what dumped on, everybody to try and fix. And that's what they're doing now. They're going at lightning speed, which I commend all of them for what they're doing. And it's going to turn us around. It's going to turn this nation, make America healthy again, make America great again, make America safe again. All of this is, happening. And of course, the people that don't want it that way, the people that wanted to keep it the other way, they're not happy.
Well, I certainly have a lot of gripes with the current administration with Donald Trump, but I also have a lot of praise for him. And this is certainly, I mean, it's unbelievable that if you watch the news, you would never think it would be Donald Trump would be the guy to come and get the corruption out from our regulatory bodies called the FDA and the CDC and the NIH and put in actual competent truth tellers like Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, RFK Jr., and
Dr. Oz,
Dr. Marty Makary, which I'm going to show you right now, who's the new head of the FDA. Now, this guy he had the courage to tell the truth. He's the one here he is right here. He's the one who told Congress that the biggest spreaders of misinformation about is the government. And it's not Joe Rogan. It's not people like me. It's not randos on social media. It's not Dr. Robert Malone. It's the government was lying to you. And he had the courage to stand up and say it. And so here he is. He did it. So it's the new FDA chair who's serving under RFK Jr., and he's from Johns Hopkins University, surgeon. And here he is. He's talking about taking on the autism epidemic. And it's got a real interesting connection to gut health and biome, and I wanted to run past you. But let me play this for you and get your reaction.
Kennedy said this week that we are going to know what causes autism by September. Is that crazy talk?
No, people want to know. A lot of parents have been dealing with kids with autism. I mean, 1 in 32 kids in America today have autism. We can't just keep medicating every kid with
it was attention. 1 in 10,000 in the 90s.
It was unheard of. And the sort of repetitive motions, the tics, the heavy, the complete nonverbal child. Where did you see that in the 1940s and 50s? And so we have to look at everything. And when you do science, you can't say, hey, we're going to do a study of what is causing this epidemic affecting 1 in 32 kids. But you can't look at these potential causes. That's not how science is done.
That's what we've been saying. And for the record, you're not saying it, but people are talking in part about that. Because Kennedy has said it should be on the list of things we look at. Now, his critics will say he's blaming it all on the vaccine, blaming autism on the vaccine. Personally, that's not what he says.
That's not what he's saying.
He says they're growing up in a toxic stew. That's one of the many things, and in particular, like the aluminum that they put in it as a preservative. Like, we should be looking at everything they're consuming and we're forcing on them. Keep going.
I don't know causes autism, but I'm deeply concerned about the rise. If I had to make a hypothesis as a scientist, not as a regulator, but as a scientist, and Dr. Bhattacharya is going to be launching a very impressive study using electronic health big data that we're helping curate. I think it is the cumulative burden of all of these exposures, environmental and dietary, that alter the microbiome. Remember, 90% of the serotonin made, which is involved in mood and mental health, is from bacteria in the microbiome. That's where it's produced. And when you mess up the microbiome, when you carpet bomb the microbiome with all of these ingredients that don't appear in nature, these are novel chemicals. What are we doing? So we've known for a long time as a scientific community that kids with autism have different stool composition, different biodiversity. So when you look at the billion different bacteria that live in the microbiome, there may be an association between changes in the microbiome and autism, and things that are changing the microbiome that we've not yet fully appreciated. And that could be a whole list of things.
So, I mean, this is right in your wheelhouse, Kim, to talk about gut health and microbiome. And he's talking about that it's not just one thing causing this spike in autism, that his guess as a scientist is that it's a bunch of things. And one of those things certainly is the food that we're eating, and the average American diet is basically poison, right? And how does that affect gut health, and how does gut health affect everything else?
Well, before I answer that, Jimmy, I have helped so many children in the 80s and the 90s when I was counseling people that were having problems in school and having focus problems, and maybe they were autistic. But what I did is I added in fermented foods or probiotics and fibers and changed their diets and got them off the sodas and changed their ultra processed food diets and got them on real food. Those kids changed so rapidly because of what they were consuming. And of course, cleaning out their rooms if they, heavy dust or molds or whatever. But how does it impact? And I'm in 100% agreement with him. We've been inundated, as I said, over generations. So each generation has gotten weaker and weaker in our gut. And why is our gut so important? Most people think our gut is right here in around our stomach area. Our gut starts in our mouth, Jimmy. It starts with saliva. And most people, and kids especially, they gulp their food. They don't chew it. Saliva breaks down carbohydrates. So if you don't chew your food properly with that saliva, it's going down there like a lump of coal or something, and the body has a very hard time digesting it. So the whole thing is, if you're eating ultra-processed foods, if you have been consuming all of these poisons in the food supply for all these years, you can't digest properly in your mouth. You can't digest in the whole gut area where there's hydrochloric acid coming and different acids to break the foods down. You're not producing enough of that. So you don't digest, then you don't absorb what little nutrients are in the foods that you're eating. And what happens is, and certainly not getting enough fiber in those ultra processed foods. So what happens is the digestion slows down, the evacuation slows down. Now we have constipated kids, we have constipated adults. People think 2 to 4 days is normal, but it's not. It's not. And then what happens is the backup of the sludge starts to make our blood toxic. Now, when your blood gets toxic, it thickens. So now you're affecting your heart. Now that blood can't get up to the immune system. We have 70 to 80% of the immune system is in our gut. So now our gut is not producing what it should be producing because it's being overrun with fungus, molds, bacteria, yeasts, all these bad guys and viruses. rather than the good guys, the probiotics, the prebiotics, the postbiotics. So what happens is that blood can't get up and nourish the brain. We have a gut-brain axis. It's a communication line. We also have a gut-skin axis. And if you see any kind of skin conditions on people, that's directly connected to their gut health. So when we have this dirty blood, this sludge blood that has filled with toxins, it can't carry nutrients, hardly at all. It can't carry oxygen. You can't think right. And so we have problems. And that microbiome in the gut, we also have a microbiome on our skin. And that is our largest organ in our body. And that it protects us from the pathogens that try and enter that way. The microbiome in our gut, the pathogens come in through our breathing and eating like that. So we even have problems with our hair. Our hair starts to thin out. We get male pattern baldness with guys. It thins. And why is that? Enough oxygen, enough nutrients, all these things can't make it up to the scalp. So it's affecting our pancreas with diabetes. It's affecting people aren't absorbing, so they eat more calories, overweight, obesity, heart problems, cancer. Because their body's just getting further and further filled with toxic matter. And what does the body know to do? Well, here, let's shrink it and put it in these little tumor things and shove it somewhere. And then hopefully the body can still try and run. So I can go into this for hours, Jimmy.
So, I just had some oral surgery yesterday, which was brutal. But they gave me an antibiotic. And now I'm thinking, well, I should take like something to counteract that, because that just wipes out all the good bacteria you need in your gut, right? And
anti is against biotic life. So when you take an antibiotic, and we are so overusing antibiotics for decades in this country, what happens is, sometimes we need them. There's a time and a place for them. But what happens is, if you don't replace after you've killed off the bad guys down there with the good guys again, you're just on a downward spiral, and you're giving pathogens a great swamp to grow in. And the good guys are going to die, and things are just going to get worse. And then they're going to put you on another antibiotic and another antibiotic to fight them off. And that's not the way to go.
And so that's why I wanted to talk to you. So people always talk about it's good to have fermented vegetables, or for stuff like, for instance, kimchi, right? Now you talk a lot about kimchi. Tell me about kimchi.
Well, kimchi is so important because I've taught about fermented foods to people and how to cook it and keep their gut healthy, because fermented foods are key to that. And kimchi is the king of fermented foods, because it has over 900 different probiotics in it and many unique strains that are found nowhere else in any other fermented food, whether they're dill pickle, sauerkraut, kefir, yogurt, anything like that. Kimchi's king. And when you put kimchi into your body every single day, it is not only going to have those good guys flourishing, it's going to fight off and kill the bad guys in the gut. And so that now you're affecting your overall whole body. Now you can get more oxygen and nutrients up to your head. Your hair's doing better. Your skin's doing better to the gut skin axis. Your heart, all these different organs are performing better because they're not filled with sludge blood, and they're able to operate properly. There was a study done. I'm trying to think on. You had to have androgenic alopecia. Now, what that is that's called male pattern baldness, Jimmy. And women get it too. The hair starts to recede up here in man, and the bald spot in the back. And with women, it's like a Christmas tree effect on their parts, where they part their hair. And what they did in this study, they were eating 1 to 2 servings of kimchi every day, and it was both men and women. And at the end of the study, I think it was there were 40 people involved. And at the end of this study, it was 12 weeks, over 90% of the people had, men and women, had either improved thickness of hair, new hair growth. They actually tattooed their head to see where the hair had been, not been, and they could tell. So over 90% of the participants had increased thickness in their hair shaft, or more hair follicles were growing hair on the head, or both. So this was really
And
incredible.
this was the result of taking what?
Kimchi.
Kimchi. Really?
Yes.
So now what would you recommend that and I'm going to be on antibiotics. First of all, I could use it for my hair. But second of all, but now that I'm taking this antibiotic because of my oral surgery, I should eat kimchi, and you also have the kimchi one. What is that?
Well, you should eat kimchi. A lot of Americans, of course, it's always better to eat the real food, but most Americans can't stomach the taste or the smell of it. It's a very different fermented food smell. And so what we decided to do at Breakup is let's put this in a capsule so it's convenient for people to take on a daily basis. Because the key thing to eat fermented food, Jimmy, is like they do in Korea. Eat it at every meal, or at least eat it once a day, because that's going to help put the good guys back in. So with you taking this antibiotic, you should be taking the capsules 3 times a day to really put the good guys back in. And that way you can really restore that gut health. And it's so vitally important. And people will take capsules. They don't want the time to, I don't want to make my own kimchi. I don't like the way it smells. I don't like the way it tastes. But they'll use the kimchi capsules. And so we decided let's come out with that, because it's so important for our gut health. And, Jimmy, there was also a study, too, that shows how it boosts the metabolism. And it causes people to lose weight, have their waist circumferences go down. And they let me tell you about this study they did with 90 adults. It just came out last year. It lowered their LDL. They had higher HDL, which is the good cholesterol, lowered their triglycerides, lowered their body mass index. It was significantly improved with their waist circumference. And they also did fecal matter tests during this clinical study. It was a double-blind placebo clinical test. And they found out, just like the doctor there had said, that the growth of the good bacteria in the gut was significantly improved over this time period of taking kimchi capsules. So they had, the placebo was in a capsule and the kimchi was in a capsule. So people had no idea what they were taking. And the guys that took the kimchi, significant waistline difference, significant body mass index measurements, and significant increase in the good guys in the gut.
Well, I'm going to start taking it. Again, I didn't know any of this stuff before RFK Jr. And now I know about this stuff. I know about the importance of gut health. I know the importance of eating fermented foods. And when I got prescribed this antibiotic, I was like, uh-oh, I'm talking with Kim tomorrow. And
just so happens.
It just so happens I'm talking. So this happened yesterday. I started taking it last night. So you would recommend I take this? Yeah, I'm not a big kimchi person, right? I will
tasted it.
I will take the pills though, right?
Okay,
so you're saying the pills that's just as good as eating kimchi?
We have a patented way to keep all of the benefits of the kimchi in the actual capsule. I was the first to come out with organic wheatgrass juice back, 1996. Nobody'd ever done that before. And it kept all the live enzymes and the beneficial bacteria and everything in that capsule. And so that would be good for you to take too, while you're getting better. But kimchi, we've been able to do that with kimchi, and we're the first people to come out with that as well. So we're very innovative, and I've been doing this almost 50 years, Jimmy. And I've been Maha before RFK Jr. got to his position there. But yeah, and people called me crazy. They said, this woman is insane. People that came to me used to tell me their doctor said not to listen to me because what you ate didn't matter.
How
about that idea?
How about that? Well, I am going to start taking the kimchi one, and I appreciate it. I have to let everybody know that you are a sponsor of the show, which I super appreciate, because a lot of sponsors don't want to have anything to do with us, and we're a controversial show, and so
I've always been controversial. So hey,
we've been we've been demonetized over and over on YouTube. We've had our videos taken down, and we never know when the kill switch is going to happen. So I appreciate people like you stepping up and helping support our show, Brightcore, and I'm starting to take the collagen
Revive.
yeah, so I'm taking that, and I'm going to be on the kimchi one ASAP starting today. So I appreciate that, and I just want to say thank you very much for your support on the show.
Well, you're very welcome, and I'd like to give the special offer. I'd like to give your viewers a special offer today, and your listeners, if I may.
Sure, go ahead. What is it?
Okay, well, we're going to give them 25% off with the order of kimchi one today. They need to use the code Dore, and they go to mybrightcore.com/Jimmy. Again, that's mybrightcore.com/Jimmy. Use the code Dore, D-O-R-E, or call 888-253-0418. And we want you to call because we enjoy talking to people. We enjoy educating people and making sure that this product is right for you. And when you call, we're going to give you up to 50% off your order and free shipping when you call in, as well as we're going to throw in a free bottle of vitamin D3 too. So please call 888-253-0418.
Well, Kim, I really appreciate you taking time out today to talk with us. I appreciate you supporting the show. You're a big hit with our audience last time. I'm sure they're going to love you again, and I'll let you know how my kimchi does for me.
That's awesome. And make sure you drink lots of good, clean water too, Jimmy, and flush out all that stuff.
I have a reverse osmosis, so it takes out all the chlorine, takes out all the fluoride, all the garbage in my water. I have that. I just got that maybe 2 months ago, so I'm excited about that. So
awesome.
All right,
you're on the road to health. This is great.
Well, I need it. I'm getting old now, so I need it. So, all right, Kim Bright, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for coming on. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Jimmy Dore. Have a great evening.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, over to Steph.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was fantastic. Really, really appreciate it. And then I was able to also link what Kim was just sharing with us on it. There you go, everybody. Okay, let's go back to some super chats. Are you wrapped for today, Jimmy?
Yes.
Is there anything else we're doing after this, Jimmy?
No.
Okay, here we go. Rob says cholesterol takes over the role of hormone support as people age. Eat more eggs, liver, and fatty fish. Liver. I don't think I've ever had liver. They are primary to help balance the loss of hormone support.
My dad loved liver, and my mother used to make liver all the time.
I think you told me that.
The liver and onions, people made a big deal. When I was a kid, that was a big dish that people used. You just get it in restaurants, liver and onions. Ugh.
You want to give me a plain blue screen behind you?
Oh, okay.
They are primary to help balance the loss of hormone support that the ovaries and testes once did. Rob MFer. Thank you for that one, Rob.
Hey, let me read this.
Okay, Jim. Back to Jimmy.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a war happening right now, and it's probably not where you think. It's in your gut. A battle between good and bad bacteria can determine your health. Kimchi 1 from Brightcore Nutrition is the fermented superfood your body needs to arm the good guys with the right weapons to defeat the bad actors once and for all. All health starts in the gut. So putting the right fermented superfood in your gut improves every aspect of your health, your heart, your brain, even the quality of your skin and the growth of your hair. Containing over 900 strains of beneficial bacteria in each capsule, Kimchi 1 supports healthy digestion, fortifies your immune system, and helps detoxify your body. Kimchi's also been shown to reduce risk of obesity and promote smaller waistlines by curbing appetite and naturally boosting your metabolism. Kimchi 1 is all natural, non-GMO, dairy-free, gluten-free, and 100% made in the USA. Today, you can get an exclusive offer by clicking the link below. Just use the code DORE, that's D-O-R-E, for 25% off your entire order. Or, for an even better deal, call my friends at Brightcore for up to 50% off your order and free shipping. Give them a call now at 888-253-0418. All right. Come see us on tour. We're going to be in Bakersfield, San Jose, California, Buffalo, New York, Toledo, Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, Glasgow, Manchester, Belfast, Dublin, Liverpool, Birmingham, and London. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, back to Steph. All right, let's see here. Progressive lefty, the words he is using says nothing will really change. Progressive lefty. Oatmeal needs to be soaked for at least 8 hours before eating to flush out its poisons. Polly. Jimmy, have Dr. Paul Thomas on. Thank you. Is that Rekoff? Have on dark journalist Daniel List for some great insight on deep state, UFO, JFK. Kerp is a big fan also. CB Punk. I'm no math sturgeon, but a handful of alleged things done in one department doesn't equal mixed bag. He's still a murderous fascist in Ukraine and Gaza, still trampling free speech and deporting legal residents. Rubber toe.
Yeah, that's why I say it's a mixed bag. That's the mix right there.
That's
before we had all that stuff with Joe Biden, but none of the good stuff. We have none of the reforming the corruption out of the CDC, no reforming getting the corruption out of the FDA, no reforming getting the dyes and the cancerous chemicals out of our food. We didn't have any of that. So we just had bad plus bad. So that's why it's a mixed bag. We have the bad plus the good.
Thank you, Jimmy. All right, y'all, please check out my pinned tweet at #USA titled The Great Cholesterol Calcium Hoax, How Government, Big Pharma, and Big Agra Engineered the Deadly $1 trillion Health Scam by ChatGPT. Rubber toe, much appreciated. Let's be clear. Senator Pocahontas Warren is a Native American U.S. Senator, and RFK Jr. is a big Parma puppet. Okay. And then here we go. Rubber toe. No, it's not as good as ChatGPT. Fermented foods like kimchi contain a wide variety of live microbes and nutrients that may not be present in supplement form. This is typical Western quick fix. Rubber toe. All right. Thank you for your healthy skepticism. Much appreciated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. We will be back on Monday. Now, enjoy yourself. Do something good for the universe. Adios.